Is it possible to change your entire life in just 100 days? Well, that's the plan, and that's what I want to find out. And I plan to do that by growing my business from 0 to 2 million naira a month. Hi guys, if you're new here, my name is Tiga. I'm 22 years old. I finished uni about over a month ago, and I'm documenting my journey to financial freedom and living a life that I am proud of. So today, by popular demand, after last week's video, you guys said that you wanted to see me document or share what exactly the 100-day challenge is, what I plan to do, how I'm doing it. And then I personally think that in sharing this, I'm not just documenting my journey, but anyone who wants to go on their own 100-day challenge alongside me can. And these are all the steps that I'm using to doing it, because the idea is to achieve the goal by 100 days. So I'm going to be breaking down what exactly my goals are, maybe not so in depthly, or maybe, I don't know, because I think I've done that in a previous video. Have I don't know. But that's what I'm going to be doing today, and just running you guys through my thought process when I was thinking of organizing this 100-day challenge or doing it. So I'm going to be sharing my screen, and we can basically get started. So I think I have it on my wall. It's like an 8-step bit that you have to follow, at least that I'm following to getting there. All right, so let's just have this 100-day challenge. All right, so the first thing is to set a goal. All right, quite simply. But let me use number 1. The first thing is to set a goal. But then what makes this sort of like different, at least for the challenge that I'm running, is that you should only set one goal, right? Try as much as possible. I mean, you can maybe stretch it to 2, but then personally, at least if you watch my most recent video, the one before this one, where I was talking about a lesson that it took me 3 years to learn, the lesson basically is that you will make a lot of progress if you simply just focus on one thing over a long period of time, over an extended period of time, as opposed to diluting your focus with multiple things. All right, especially with like business goals. That was even the context of the video. So set a goal and try and set only one. It's taken me a long time. In fact, it was even during this challenge that I realized that, let me scrap the other business that I have, not entirely, just for this season, and then work on this one. So we're actually going from 0 to 1 million. So that's the idea. Set a goal, be as specific as possible. You guys know the goal setting framework: SMART, specific, measurable, all those things, right? Set a goal. Like I said, I have it on my wall, so I'm doing that or looking at it from there. The next is to set 30-day, 60-day, and of course 100-day milestones. Right, of course your 100-day milestones is going to be the same thing as your goal, and I'm going to be walking you through what it is that I'm doing. So what exactly is my goal? Well, my own goal is to grow my business to 2 million naira per month, right? And then I have a social media goal as well. I know you probably say, but Tiga, that's 2 goals. Not really, because they are heavily tied together. So even if I just put growth to 2 million a month, that's still fine, but they are sort of like tied together because I'm growing my business on social media primarily. So it's also grow my IG to 15k followers, right, at the end of 100 days. I can't remember what I started the challenge with. I think I started with 5,000 or so, but currently we're at 6,700 or so. So we've been making a little bit of progress, so I'm quite excited about that. But yeah, so this is my goal, and then my 30-day, 60-day, 100-day milestones, you want to set that. So where do you want to be by 30 days? Where do you want to be by 60 days? And of course, your 100-day milestone is your final goal. And it's, again, important to understand these are output goals. So growth 2 million is an output goal, is what I want to achieve. Do you get? So, that's that. So I'll just show you what my Google Sheets looks like. And then, yeah, so as you can see, okay, I think I've zoomed to the highest. As you can see, this is my target. 30 days, I want to have gotten to 8k followers. So and you guys, we're currently at week 3 of the challenge. This is currently week 3 of the challenge. Today is Saturday, and week 3 started on Thursday. So Thursday, Friday. So week 3, day 3, right? So it means I have like 1 week, 4 days left to get to 8k. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but then let's see how things go. Then by day 60, I want to be at 11k, day 100, 15K. Then my financial targets, day 30, 175,000 naira per month, 60, 1.2 million, 100, 2 million. The reason why it's 175,000 at day 30 is because, I was very sort of like meticulous in planning all of this. And I knew that from day 1 to day 30, I wasn't going to do anything finance related. I wasn't going to push out my businesses like that. I wasn't going to like start a new product. I wasn't going to do any of these things. Day 1 to 30, because I was changing my ICP, right? That's my ideal client profile. I wanted to use 30 days. Now, you might argue that I didn't need to use 30 days, no problem. But I decided to use 30 days to warm up my audience. But it wasn't really 30 days, quite frankly, because at day 1, I didn't have a clue. Okay, well, I had a clue. That's a lie. I didn't have like a specific, like with utmost certainty, who I wanted to speak to. Right, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I talk to students. I used to talk to students a lot. In fact, my product, the business that I was running was still running, the Distinction Circle, a private community, right? It's comprised majority of students. The product is just 5,000 naira per month, right? So it's just 5K per month. So I've been talking to students a lot. I have my water today, so I was not going to door. Sure, I need to tap this. Okay, so I said I didn't want to talk to, I don't want to talk to students any longer. 2 major reasons. The first reason is I'm not a student again, right? And I'm tired, quite frankly. I don't feel like it's the most authentic thing to do, at least from my point of view. Not like it's a wrong thing, of course. There are people that are not in uni talking to students and have their markets there. What I mean is, I usually like to talk from my lived experiences. And since I no longer I'm in that, I'm sort of like moving on. Right. So, it's similar to Ali Abdal-ish. If you know what Ali Abdal was doing from the jump, he initially started with students. And then as he became left being a doctor, started talking to YouTubers, because that's where he currently was at the time, and entrepreneurs. So it's a similar thing. So I decided to do that, but I didn't know. Okay, so the question is, if you're not talking to students, who do you want to talk to? I didn't know initially. I said, I was going to talk to 9 to 5. Okay, no, I said I was going to talk to ambitious people. I said ambitious people. That's what I said initially. I was going to talk to ambitious people, right? But the problem with this is, who exactly is ambitious people? Like, what does that mean? I'm ambitious. You are probably ambitious if you are watching this. So what does ambitious people mean? It's not specific enough to derive any sort of outcome from, right? So, I eventually had to scrap that. So, okay, what other option did I come up with? I was thinking of 9 to 5ers who want to leave and, start building their own thing, right? And, this sort of like made sense in my head because it seems interesting. Like, okay, you want to build your own business, you want to leave your 9 to 5. So, there's the area of how you can manage all those things you're doing in the meantime while you're building your business on the side. And so it made a little bit of sense, because in, I think 2 videos ago, I spoke to you how, like, where I'm focusing on, or where I'm focusing on in terms of helping people, in terms of value, is because there are 3 major things that are itemized for how you can offer value in business. It's whether you're making people money, whether you're saving them money, or whether you're saving people time. And I explain why I'm not choosing making people money. And of course, I don't know anything about how to save people money. So it's saving people time that I decided to opt for. So I was thinking, okay, so what we would do is, with the 9 to 5 hours, I'm going to help you like break down your business. Not break down your business. I'm going to help you like reclaim your time so you can have like free hours to work and build your business. So, but then that did not make sense to me. And the reason it did not make sense to me is because I have never worked a 9 to 5 in my life, and I want to talk from lived experiences. So if I'm talking to a 9 to 5 with utmost specificity, it means that I'm going to have to maybe do research or gather people and talk to them, and I don't want to do that. I want to talk from my lived experiences, especially because, to build a personal brand, at least the way that I've been learning how to, is primarily by storytelling and all the rest. So this was out. So I then thought, since I was talking to students because I was a student at the time, Maybe, maybe I can talk to solopreneurs. Now, who's a solopreneur? It's basically one person. I don't want to say army. That sounds very cheesy. It's basically one person business, right? So you're the one managing all the bits, right? Has nothing to do whether you are able to hire or not. And solopreneurs do hire people, but then in the grand scheme of things, you're like the one. I think Dan Cole identifies as a solopreneur. People like that. So I wanted to help solopreneurs because primarily, like that's what I am. I mean, I have someone on payroll, but for the most part of it, most part of the business, content creation, all these things, I'm like managing everything, and I've been able to sort of like build systems to help me do that, like systems generally, and then use AI to augment that. In fact, that's one I'm building currently. I'm building an automation. I'll be Claude is building an automation, but so I've been able to do this. So I want to help people who are in my position, seemingly, right? People who are handling their entire business by themselves, different parts, whether it's the content creation, it's the marketing, it's the like sales, all these things. How can we make sure that your time is saved, right? So how on earth did we get here? Case in point, I decided that, okay, yes, I remember, solopreneurs is who I wanted to help. So that's why the revenue, and I only realized this last week. So it means week 3 and week 4 is where I plan to like consolidate and actually talk to these people, talk about their struggles, their problems, share my own journey, my story, things like that. So I mean, that's what's literally on this wall. I mean, what am I without my sticky notes? Last week I didn't have water. This time I have little water. So that's what I have here, and I'll get to that in a little bit, but that's really the plan. Just talk to these people basically, and that's why for the first 30 days, this is how much I plan to make: 175k. And it's not even from this ICP, it's from my business that I have before, because the business is still running. We still have people in the private community, we still have people that require our services and all the rest. So I mean, so I think we're on track to making over 175k this month. Quite frankly, I think we're on track to making, so far we've done like 70, at least mental math, because last week or 2 weeks ago, I know we had done, by day 10 we had done over 60k, right? Today is day 17, right? So I haven't checked the numbers, but we're on track to making over that, and a bulk of the payments from the community comes towards the end of the month. So that's the reason why it starts. So yes, so that's the second thing, the second step, and it's to set 30, 60 and your 100-day milestones. It's just so you will know if you're on track. That's all. It's just so you will know if you're on track. Let me not dwell too much there. Then the next thing is you want to identify your needle moving tasks. That's the next thing. Identify what your needle moving tasks are. See, I made a video on Instagram today, and I've come to realize that the things that you need to do to achieve success are not that many. And that's why I'm documenting the journey. Like, I really want you guys to see. That's why there are no edits. I've said this time and time again. I'm just documenting. I want to look back and see, what were the things I did to arriving at where I wanted to arrive at, right? So you guys can use it as a template. Like, I'm sharing everything. I'm an open book, literally, right? Telling you guys the numbers, how much we're making, and all the rest. Like, I'm talking about everything. But I realize the things to achieve success, they are not plenty. You just really need to discover what they are and just do them repeatedly. And what's more interesting is that these things are ridiculously simple. These things are ridiculously simple. In fact, if you watch Alex Hormozi, you will know that you would understand what I'm saying. He's making statements like, do so much volume that it's unreasonable for you to fail, or it's impossible for you to fail. Right, he's the one that came up with the whole 100 of 100 rule. So whatever outreach method you want to use, whether it's content, it's like, don't stop and don't bat an eye till you've done 100 of it for 100 days, right? Of course, for content, how he puts it is 100 minutes, 100 days, something like that. Post 100 minutes of content for 100 days, which is absolutely ridiculous, right? But you get the point. They are so simple, right? They're so simple. So identify your needle moving tasks, the actual things that need to be done to get into your goal. So let's look at mine. So there's 6, 18 pieces of content, 1 content research block every week, right? So I'm posting a lot on Instagram, so 18 times a week, 1 content research block weekly. So this is how I know the things that are working. I don't sit down and just start to think. Of course, this video is not about like how I create content, but I don't sit down and start to think of, oh, what should I post today, right? I'm always trying to use proven frameworks. So trying to research people in my niche and even outside my niche, right? Then promote DC weekly. This is going to change. So DC is the private community that I have. I've not reviewed this needle moving task. It's actually it's I'm even removing it, quite frankly. So it was promote DC weekly. Okay, I think I can edit it here. Yeah, so promote DC weekly, that's what it was before, because I wanted to do that, but then I'm no longer. And the reason I'm not promoting the community weekly any longer is because I don't want to confuse my audience, right? Because of course this is not like we say it's just for students, but then I've realized with the structure of it, it's pretty much just for students, or not just for students actually. And well, at least it's not for my solopreneur audience, because with the solopreneur guys, they already have a business, they know what they are doing in a sense, right, business wise, and that's what they are focused on, whereas the private community is okay. Are you struggling with different areas on improving the different areas of your life? So we itemize 8 different areas of your life that you can. This is probably an ad for DC. 8 different areas of your life that you can improve on. Right? I don't know if I can list everything, but spiritual, financial, which is how you manage money, your career / academics, your health, personal development, your skills and crafts, your relationships, and then joy / recreation. 8 different areas. So when you come into the private community, there are 3 areas that you can choose from, right? You can only choose 3. You can't work on more than 3 areas, and then you tell us your goal, and then we map out a step-by-step plan for you to follow and achieve your goals. And then there's the community where you do all of that with their weekly calls. I know I don't want to stop this and go and drink water and come, because I don't want to edit it. What was I saying? Yeah, so weekly calls, monthly keynotes, you get the idea, right? There's a link in the description if you want to join. But I removed that. I don't want to confuse my Instagram audience. Eventually, when I plan to like promote DC properly, and that's when I'm done with this challenge, because I don't want to dilute my focus, I'll create a page for it and all the rest. But for now, it's running on its own, and then I'll just talk about it once a month on my story. So it doesn't need to be here. Then begin cohort push in August. This is actually the new product that I want to run, right? That I want to start. I'll probably talk to you guys more about that in coming videos. And then the 4th is to hire a coach by day 30. This was needed when I'll edit it later, but that's not needed any longer. And then content / goal review every week. So you see the needle moving task, they're actually just 4, right? Because I'm going to remove hire DC coach. So they're just 4. Think about that. That's amazing, right? So you see, there are only a few things you need to do, and these are the things that I do every day, except the one that I said I would do weekly, like content review and then content research. Every other thing is daily, and I'm doing it daily, right? I just need to do it for a long amount of time. And then the 4th one is to dedicate hours to it daily, right? Now the hours you dedicate to it are heavily dependent on how deep your goal is to you, how much of free time you have, and then how wide the goal is, like how big it is. Do you get? So that's something to think about. Let me show you guys something. I don't want to carry my phone, should I? Okay, maybe I should. Let me show you guys something. I don't know if you can see this. Okay, I don't know if I hope it's not inverted, but this is, I've been working for today 10 hours 14 minutes. Of course, this is not like from when I woke up, because I was up. My sleeping habits are horrible. They're very bad. So they've been bad for a while. So I sleep really late. So it's from 12 a.m. till now, 10 hours today. And yesterday, that's 4 hours. So combined between yesterday and this is almost 11 hours. So this is like 15 hours between yesterday and today. right? So that's like 7 hours each if you have to take the average. But today I work more than I did yesterday. All right, and this is just doing all the things that I need to do. So the point I'm trying to make is that you need to dedicate real time to it, right? It's not the 100-day challenge is not if you want to build a side income, or you can. It's not if you don't want to build a side income. What I'm saying is it's not something that you will do passively. That's the point I'm trying to make, right? If you're doing the challenge, then you're committing to an actual goal, something that matters to you. So you have to dedicate real hours to it daily. And then if you have to manage some other things, maybe school or your 9 to 5 or something, then you need to structure your days in a way that you can dedicate hours, take and put it to your goal. Because again, you will only achieve success by doing the boring, repetitive tasks every single day without fail. I was saying, I don't know, because I post on YouTube and Instagram, so I don't even know where. But I was saying somewhere that this challenge only matters if I show up daily. That's all. It only matters if I show up daily. If I show up for 3 weeks and then take 4 weeks off, or show up for 3 days and then take 1 week off, and then keep going on and off with that, then there's no point. Because the point of the 100-day challenge is that you show up for 100 days. Even, of course, it's not every day I'm showing up for 7 hours. Or like, let me make that clear, right? I've just had high burst of energy. I'm seeing progress with the work, so that's getting me more excited and things like that. But then it's not every day that I'm doing that. But I have to show up every day. As you can see, there's a strict count of 15 days, right? 15 days I've been showing up every day. So it's very, very important that you dedicate real hours to it every single day. And then the fifth one, I really like this one. I love this one so much. It reflects every week. The reason why I love it is because, see, like I said when I was talking about why I spent 30, why I'm going to be spending 30 days and my money target is 175k only, right? Is because I was still trying to gain clarity with who I wanted to talk to. The point of reflecting every week is, I assure you, and I know that whatever goal you set here, whatever milestones you set here, chances are high that it may not work that way. I keep biting my lip. I think it's sore. Chances are high that it may not work that way. Chances are very, very high. And I know that, and I'm okay. See, I don't know everything that I need to. See, when you start the 100-day challenge, you're genuinely going to think that your journey from here, start to the 100, is going to be like this. Or at best, if you're not delusional, like this. But hey, you will lie. Oh. Now, I've been around the block for a little while. I know that it's never like this. I know that I know that there are going to be weeks where I don't gain followers, and then one post is going to I know. So reflecting every week is so important because I'm humble enough to know. My friend Aitimi shared this quote in one of his videos, and I thought it was so profound. I put it on my wall so I can be seen that I don't actually know stuff. It says it's not happening. I think it's from Alex Hormozy. It's not happening as fast as you want because you're not as good as you think you are. And I'm humble enough to admit that. Like, it's a very humbling experience when you hear things like that. Okay, maybe the reason I'm not actually as successful as I want to be is because I don't know as much as I think I do, and that's fine. And the reason why that's fine is because all the inputs I've done for the past 7 hours today, right, 8 hours today, is feedback that I would get next week. So I've put all of these things in motion, and then next week I will get feedback. I've posted bits on Instagram 3 times today. I'm going to get feedback by the end of the week. Of course, well, Instagram is less, so I'll probably get like tomorrow. So I get feedback from these things, and they serve as data. Okay, so these are the things we should double down on. In fact, the post that brought me 700 followers, I wish I could put the screenshots, but again, no editing. But the post that brought me 700 followers was simply as a result of a test. One of my reels went viral, and I decided to take that same piece of content and turn it into a carousel. That's all. And it brought in 700 followers, right, in 1 week. Or maybe in 8 days. So you need to reflect every week, and the point of reflecting is to see where you currently stand with your overall goals, and then also what you can do next week to be better, right? And that's going to lead me to the next thing, number 6, and it is choose 1 to 2 things to experiment. Sorry. To experiment on weekly. Choose one or two things to experiment on weekly. Right? That's the point of reflecting every week. I'm not going to dwell too much here because that's the point. So I said I was going to show you guys what was here. So so this is like the way I track, right? So the posts that I'm making is week 1, this week 2, this week 3. You see we're on day 3. Day 4 is tomorrow. So this is the focus for week 2. I don't know if you can see that, but create carousels after viral reels, right? So after a reel goes viral, create a carousel for it. I did that. Start posting AI content. That was the focus for week 2. So week 3, this is the focus. This is what I'm doing. Post more position content. So content that positions me as an expert. And this is how I plan to do that. Then study Junu's storytelling framework. Junu is a guy on Instagram. Brilliant guy. Absolutely brilliant. So that's the focus, right? So I've realized, okay, this is what my goals are. This is where I'm headed. These are some of the things that have worked. I've realized that I get a lot of... This is so funny. I didn't want to... I didn't want to pause the video. Now I'm going to have to touch this thing. I didn't want to pause or stop the video because I didn't want to edit it at all. And now my storage was full. Had to delete some things. Now the video has stopped. Well, point I'm trying to make, or what I was saying was, focus on just a few things. I realize I get the most views and follows when I share my journey and share my story and share my experiences. So that's all I did, right? Not that's all I did, sorry. I realized that that's what I need to double down on, and I need to learn storytelling to do that. So that's why I have that there. So pick 1 to 2 things that you experiment on weekly, and then from that experiment you deduce something. Okay, did this work? Do I need to experiment on it again? And then just keep iterating. But then that comes from primarily reflecting every week. Now the 7th is to build a tracking system. This 7, to build a tracking system. Now, personally, so the Google Sheets, you probably see it, and where is it? The Google Sheets, you probably look at it and think that it's what I used to track, but not really actually, right? The point of this, as you can see, you see all my guys' name under Obed, Tamilore, Raphael, GD, Papilox, Perfection, Maxwell, Melvin, Jacobs. So these are my friends, and we're doing the 100-day challenge together, right? So all of this is just for accountability, because everybody can see. Of course, I can't go to their own and show you, but everybody can see everybody's own. Do you get? But this is not what I used to track. What I actually used to track is this. I don't know, man. As you get older, you just go back to the simple things. I used to use Notion back in the day, but I just do the same. To do, like, it's the same thing. To do like that. That's all we're doing, man. Just writing it here, and this note is always open on my desk, so I know what it is I need to do. And then of course I have my sticky notes there, especially for Instagram, because Instagram is, at least as at now, while I'm not selling anything yet, posting on Instagram is the major aspect of my business. So that's why it's literally in front of me, and I have to cross each day that I post up to 3 times or 2 times, depending on how many I'm doing that day. So this one is not really just for me and my guys. What I use is a physical journal, and then that, but you just need a place to be able to track. But I think it's important to have digitally what these are. So what your main goal is, what your needle moving tasks are, and then what your milestones are. I think it's important, but then it can also still be in a book, maybe just at the start of the page or something, right? So just build a tracking system, somewhere you can track your inputs and your outputs. So it's not just important that you track that you're doing this stuff. Also document. If it's a monetary goal, it's a business goal, how much have I made in the past 30 days or 15 days or 7 days? Like, have somewhere you write it so you can see what the progression is like. And that's how you know if you're actually really making progress. So this 7. And then the final one is to build a system for accountability. But then most importantly, attach a penalty to it. Very important. It's very important. You have to attach penalty to it. So this is how I've been able to stay consistent for the past 16, 17 days of this challenge. I'm not joking. I've never been this consistent in my life. I sent out a newsletter. It's simply because, like you guys saw here now. This is the penalty, and all the boys, they have theirs 10k. So we have like a general pot, and then whenever someone even missed last week, so they are sending 10k to the pot. If I miss, I'll send 10k, and we'll try to put something that would be a little bit painful to us. Now I'm trying to make money. 10k is by the time I get here, by God's grace, 1 point something million, I will increase this thing, right? So that's the entire idea. Build a system for accountability. So you guys, this is everything. These are the 8 steps that I'm sort of like following, and I explained what my goals are, documented that, how I'm doing that during the challenge. It's currently week 3, and I'm so excited. So you can just, like, of course, take a screenshot, just watch the video again, and do this for yourself for whatever goal it is that you want to achieve. And of course, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I think I want to start documenting, doing like explaining what happened during the week. I don't know how I can do that will make it interesting for you guys. Of course, I'm doing it. I'm just documenting my journey, right? But then I don't know. Some of you guys seem to be interested. The last couple videos, except last one, have gotten like couple thousand views. So I think it's a bit interesting for you guys. So I just want to know, maybe if anyone has a suggestion, it would be really helpful. Like, how do you think I should do this videos in such a way that it's not boring? I don't just come at the end of the week and say, okay, you guys, this is how many videos I posted, this is how much money we've made, this is what I plan to do next week, but in like a more interesting way, or except that is interesting for you guys. I really don't know. Just let me know what you think. I really, really, really would love to hear your opinion about it. But yeah, that's the 100-day challenge, guys. And I would see you sometime in the coming week. Have a productive week ahead. Cheers.